Today we are talking about Catiline. Catiline is well known for his conspiracy that threatened the foundations of the Roman Republic. His enemy, most famously, was Cicero, my boy Cicero. Now, before we get into the conspiracy named after Catiline, let's talk about Catiline. Catiline is born in 106 BCE. He was born into what was considered quite a poor family. However, Catiline did have connections through his uncle. Catiline's maternal uncle served as praetor in 105 BCE. Catiline's great-great-grandfather also served in the Second Punic War. We will do videos on the Second Punic War in due course. Catiline began his career during the Social War. The War of the Gracchi brothers kind of inflicted, really. Catiline fought with Pompey the Great and a young Cicero, so he had a good cohort by him. Now then, Catiline wasn't the wisest of men. However, in 82 BCE, we can see that he took with Sulla, and thus began his good luck. Whilst the Sullan proscriptions were very painful for many people, Catiline actually got richer through them. Catiline had a love for bloodshed, and this is spoken about by Cicero. Whilst we have no direct source for Catiline's love of bloodshed, we do know very directly that Catiline became really wealthy through Sulla's proscriptions. In the 60s BC, we can see that Catiline's political dreams start to take fruition. Catiline gets praetorship in 68 BCE. Catiline becomes governor of Africa in 67 to 66 BC. However, when he returned to Rome, there were accusations of extortion through Catiline's camp. And the accusation of extorting African envoys blocked his dreams of getting consulship in 66 BCE. Now then, we talk about the Catilinarian conspiracy. Regarding his trial, whilst Pulcher has it out for him, Catiline is defended by several consuls. Undeterred, Catiline runs for consul again. And this time, Catiline's competing with Cicero and Hybrida. We know that Catiline was financially supported by Crassus and potentially Caesar. And what I find interesting is that a lot of people ask, was Sulla or Catiline the inspiration for Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon and his dictatorship? Hopefully this video will answer that question. Catiline, by this point, was being accused by Cicero, his mortal enemy, of widespread corruption. And when it came down to the election, Cicero easily won. The same year, we know that Caesar and Sulla did not get on, and Caesar was meant to be part of Sulla's proscription. By this point, there was an inquiry, and Caesar is leading the inquiry into Sulla's proscriptions and the deaths. And Catiline, who benefited heavily from Sulla's proscriptions, well, he's in a bit of trouble. And Catiline is back on trial. However, believe it or not, actually Catiline is acquitted. By this point, in 64 BCE, we can see that Catiline is an underground figure in Roman politics. He's really controversial, even for that time where bloodshed was very normal. He's twice been acquitted for crimes, and he's twice tried to get consul and failed. He's dodgy. And obviously Cicero hates Catiline. In 63 BC, we can see that my boy Cicero and Hybrida serve as consuls. Hybrida, who was actually aligned with Catiline, broke protocol for a more favorable provincial assignment. Catiline has not given up his dreams of politics. By this point in 63 BCE, we can see that Rome is completely entrenched in strife, and the big moral panic was over housing. There's a land reform bill that actually Cicero opposes, which, that's not very nice of Cicero. That's not very, Catiline, like Sulla, was a reactionary politician. We know plenty of those living in 2020s Britain, don't we? Nigel Farage. Catiline is actually really popular amongst the masses because Catiline is a reactionary politician, like his friend Sulla was. Cicero knows that Catiline is out for him, and Cicero is wearing armor and aligning himself with guards. Now then, what does Catiline do? Catiline has no money, unlike Crassus, who was very, very rich. So Catiline instead tries to get the plebeians' vote. What did Catiline do? He advocates for debt relief. But do you know what is alleged that he did? Catiline said, and it's alleged, but he was for killing the rich. The modern day scholars, they doubt the veracity of those claims. No. Catiline loses again, his third time. So, Cicero. I still like him. I enjoy his letters. I think he is very human. So, Catiline, twice acquitted of crimes, 3 losses. There's got to be some quite direct action has to be taken. Catiline and his plot. Cicero finds out about the plot quite early on. Cicero delivers his speech in Catilinum. It's like one of Cicero's most famous speeches. Catiline gets called out, so he escapes and moves to Etruria. And Cicero delivers the in Catilinum sequels, the sequels to his speeches. And 4 key conspirators are arrested. How did Cicero discover the conspiracy though? Well, it's the Abroges, a Gallic tribe. Using the Abroges envoys as double agents, Cicero is able to identify conspirators throughout the city of Rome. Cicero is really, really clever. He's intercepting the Abroges' letters, and the conspirators were arrested on either December the 2nd or December the 3rd. And confessions are gained from the conspirators. Caesar wanted life imprisonment for the men, but instead Caesar advises a execution. I mean, how very Roman. This is when Cicero delivers his 4th in Catilinum speech, and Cicero argues for no trial and just an execution. And this is when we see the conspirators executed, who is a failed politician by this point. I mean, he's tried 4 times. All his support melted away. Catiline is killed in 62 BCE, and Catiline is killed at the Battle of Pistoria. Now, Cicero's speeches about Catiline are some of his most famous. I'm a huge lover of the Philippics though. Hearing how Cicero reads Mark Antony to death is a treat for me.